Having a good time. And it is amazing that we're here, even though we're a little bit under the weather, but it's not the vid, we promise. It is just a little bit of the sniffles and just tired because we're on that grind. This summer has just been nonstop over and over and over. We've been going hard and we're going to continue to go hard. But before we go any further, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell a friend. Anybody who likes sports, Fan2Fan is live every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. on executionentertainmentmedia.com. Follow us at Fan2Fan Show on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and the Gram. I feel like there's more. I feel like there's more social media that we should be talking about. But But we are going to get right into the whole situation, and we are going to be there. But first, I'm going to introduce the panel, as usual. To my left, I know I always go like this. To my left is Calvin. To my right is Heidi. And I'm going to give Calvin some stuff, because Calvin was supposed to be here not in virtual land, because we never get Calvin in the studio, but he was supposed to be here, and he's not here. Why are you not here, Calvin?
You know, sometimes life does that to you, man. But I apologize to you and to Heidi and to everybody else in Fan2Fan land. But at some point, we are going to make this up. I will be there in person at some point. It'll be just more of a treat. It'll be more of a treat.
I just want to say, at some point, you need to make it up just by moving here permanently. That's what I just want to say.
That's my penance for missing this time. Is I got to be there full time.
And as we
Wednesdays
said,
at 9:30.
And as we said multiple times, Adam will pay your first 3 months of rent. Plus, we got a GoFundMe going for Calvin's something.
Yeah.
For like furniture, toiletries.
I need a GoFundMe. I need a Patreon. I need everything.
I think we should just call it for Calvin something. Like that's a
for Calvin something.
Please contribute.
For just Calvin whatever.
You know, whatever it is.
And
give us some money.
And this is the thing that I'm going to say. So, looking at the 3-shot, looking at the triple shot, unfortunately, it looks like we play for the Clippers. That's what's happening here.
I was wearing mine first, and I was in front of you.
I was very tired.
And
today was an exhausting day.
That's true. You can see when the love is gone.
I know.
I could have been wearing a sack. And he'd have been like,
no, that's not
good,
true.
babe.
I would have said, babe, why are you wearing a sack?
Yeah,
a sack is just depressing.
I'm saying, I wore it first.
That's true. That's true. But Heidi, how are you doing? And what's happening with you?
I'm good. I'm tired, but it's all right. It's okay.
We have no energy. We have no energy.
No, that's not true. We have energy. We're gonna be just fine.
We'll be just fine.
But it's just like I had like a wedding dress fitting today. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
And for those of you, especially the men watching, you're like, why is that a big deal? You don't know. You don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's very true. I know it was a lot, because when I went there, I was like, and they don't, you know what's funny about that? I always thought that wedding dresses, and just a little banter here, wedding dress fittings, I always thought we were supposed to get like wine and cheese and there's
no,
nice
you
music.
watch too many like say yes to the dress. It's
it was
like
boring.
It's a warehouse, and like people are softly cursing in like Eastern European languages.
They are. They're so aggressive but passive aggressive because they want your business. And then the thing is that you always get like it happened to us last time. You looked great in your dress, and I was oh, this looks great. We don't believe in that whole you shouldn't see her in a wedding dress thing. That's like poppycock. But the funny thing about that is that I was there, and there was a woman there. There was a older woman who looked like she was getting married, who didn't look good in any dress she put on. And I was like, and you could have been a mean person and said, maybe you just don't look good. I was paying attention because she was trying on stuff in the dressing room. And then there was another young woman who was getting married. And it was so funny. She picked out a dress. She looked gorgeous in it. And then all of a sudden, she looked at the price tag, almost fainted. Then like her mother, and I'm hearing the whole conversation. Her mother was having a conversation about, oh, you have a budget. Da-da-da. They brought out the dresses that were within her budget. Wow, they look like prom dresses. They look like sweet 16 dresses, like all of them.
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
Maybe that's why I'm tired.
Maybe that is, yeah. So, I mean, Calvin, you missed that fun.
Look, it sounded like she was getting dressed in a Dallas Mavericks locker room.
A little bit.
Said Eastern European cursing and
that's right.
You thought it was wine and cheese, and it was just
Dingus in the background, like fuming. Okay, we're back on sports.
Yeah.
Let's go.
See,
it's good. We're back on sports, and want to talk about what we are talking about tonight. We are going to get to our first topic in a second, which sadly is the New York Mets, and I mean sadly. Very sadly. But we're also going to cover the Clippers basically trading away a staple and trading away two team members that I don't understand what the thinking here is. We're going to bring in William Martin back in for that. He's going to be in with the Clippers conversation in a bit. And then we're going to talk the NBA, the Warriors, and Kevin Durant having a little bit more beef. And we are going to talk about, the Knicks having a very nice press conference and going to end with a little bit of sports fashion. Just one particular thing that I just noticed. But that being said, once again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. But I want to talk about something very quick because We are talking first about the New York Mets. The New York Mets we hit on last week, and it was a very sad conversation. The New York Mets started off at the beginning of June 5 games ahead in the East. It's not a big lead in baseball terms, but it is a lead, and it was a lead that they sustained almost to the middle of July. And then all of a sudden, they just started horribly losing, and most of the games weren't close. And you say to yourself, Jacob deGrom went down. But they still had good pitchers, and they still had a bullpen that was decent, and they still had offense that was figuring it out. But somehow or another, they came back and they started losing. The reason why they're at the top of our discussion tonight is because, guess what? They just got swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we know the Dodgers are the defending world champions. Okay, the Los Angeles Dodgers are a great team, and I said it before that I think they're going to be back in the World Series this year. Contrary to popular belief, that a lot of people aren't picking them because there are other teams, Milwaukee and the Giants in the National League, that are looking amazing. But the Dodgers swept them. And I always say that when a team gets swept, they lose the pride. They lose the pride of baseball. Now, for those who don't know, baseball is a game of rhythm. Baseball is the type of situation that you get into when you get on a hitting streak. You win when you get on a hitting streak. You do the fundamentals. You hit the ball. You bunt. You advance the runners. You score by any means necessary. And most importantly, you have good pitching and you have defense. And it seems like the Mets can't do anything when it comes to defense. First and foremost, let's throw this up. This is the logo that we put up last week. They are the Titanic sinking. Citi Field is tanking. It's just horrible. So many things, including this beautiful logo, are 100% accurate. The New York Mets are a mess. And they have a new owner, and they have a coach that was doing pretty well at the beginning of the season. All of a sudden, the players aren't buying into what he's saying anymore. When you were buying into what he was saying, you were 5 games ahead in the division. Now, the reason why I bring this all up is because baseball is a game of rhythm. And they were in a rhythm. And everybody was ready to say, you know what, the Mets are going to be in the playoffs. The Mets are going to be in the playoffs. I was one of them. I said the Mets were going to be in the playoffs. I also thought the Mets could be in the NLCS, the championship series. They looked that good, and it was consistent. It was good pitching, good defense, and good timely hitting. You know what's happened since then? None of the above. None of that has happened. And what happens when that happens is you lose baseball games. The difference is that I noticed that there's no pride in this team. There's nobody getting mad. There's nobody getting upset at the team. And by the way, they still have the same owner, the same coach. And guess what? The only thing that has changed, besides a few minor injuries, is they got a new guy and their star pitcher went down with an injury. Now that shouldn't tank the team. But that begs the question, and it makes me ask the question to everybody out there, and to myself included. Why is this team tanking so much? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. The answer is very simple. This team was a facade. This team was fake. From the beginning, they pulled the wool over our eyes, and they didn't care. And they didn't care because they were winning games. So all they had to do was do that for the entire year. The problem with baseball is that you can't fool anybody for an entire year. A couple weeks, a month, 2 months at best. But eventually, the rest of the league catches up. And what happened was in the first 3 months of the season, everybody was kind of horrible. Baseball players were not what they were doing. And there was a lot of teams that were good that weren't supposed to be good. The Mets were one of them. And now, they're not only not in first place, they're not in second place. They're not even in third place. They're pretty much in fourth place and tanking horribly. Although today they did win a game. They won a game against a good Giants team. They need to win another game and a bunch of other games to get back that first place things because they're not going to get a wild card. That ain't happening. That is reserved for the Giants or the Dodgers at this point and other teams that are managing to do well. But you know who is in first place? The Braves, who everybody said, oh, last year was a facade, except didn't they do the same thing around this time last year? They got hot, ended up taking a division, and ended up playing well in the playoffs until they lost. So now the Mets are where they are destined to be. And I bring in the panel. Calvin, the Mets are 100% in the doghouse. The coaching has no answers. The ownership is super upset. And like we talked about last week, we heard from William about this. Like we talked about last week, the Mets are just not a good team. So, Calvin, here's the first question I'm going to ask, and this is what I want to ask. Do you think a team has pride when they get swept by a team? And if you were the owner, what would you do?
I'm old and salty, so I'm ready to fight somebody.
You just going to fight everybody?
Why not? I'm going to fight somebody that's not a Met, and I might fight some of them. No, you can still have pride. They got to figure things out, man. They've been not that good for a hot minute, right? So like but to your point, sometimes you can start off pretty good and there's a difference, right? The good teams continue to find ways to win, and some teams kind of fall, I guess some people would say, where they should. Now I'm going to challenge. I would not say that they were tanking, because that usually implies that they're doing it on purpose. And I don't think they're doing this on purpose, but they are losing, and they're not losing, and they're losing bad. Yes. And I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if it needs to be another shot in the arm. I don't know if, they might need to do a coaching change in some way. Maybe they need to have a locker room leader. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's a vocal piece. They added some new pieces. That doesn't always work sometimes for teams to just kind of go, you know what I mean? Like right into adding somebody and having that type of chemistry that they need to make a big push, right? Because they weren't, I never thought that they were a team that just needed a couple of pieces. They needed a couple of pieces and for things to fall the right way. And kind of like I alluded to last week, right? A little bit of a culture change. You know what I'm saying? To have a better winning culture. I don't think they had a winning culture for a hot minute.
Well, they finally did have a winning culture. You thought at the beginning of the season, and they have the talent to have a winning culture. Heidi, what do you want to say? I know Calvin just saw the chat because he was talking all the time.
Snur, we need a sexy bat boy. I mean, he's not wrong. Because that's great for your.
The problem is that we have to
culture.
be careful about sexy bat boy because it could be underage, and then we got some.
A young Batman, a sexy.
So they need a sexy Batman. Okay, they need the Justice League. The Justice League needs to be the Mets now.
A youthful Batman.
Heidi.
All right. So here's the thing, and you guys know a lot more about the Mets than me, but I just want to say a couple things. I don't think it's fair to say they had minor injuries. I think they had some pretty. Obviously, the DeGrom is a catastrophic problem for them.
That's the best player in baseball, and they lost him.
And then, Lindor's had injuries. I think that guy that they traded for, Baez, immediately had a back problem. They haven't been minor. I think the Mets have, from what I've seen, have had actually the worst injury streak of any team in the season, right? So they it's been rough. The one thing I think is interesting is the batting was never the offensive, the hitting was not, it wasn't good. Yeah. But it was okay. But it actually wasn't. Like you said earlier, the first half of the season was sort of easy on them, and so their sort of mediocre offense was kind of doing okay. Yeah. They're actually similar in terms of their hitting. It's just, and they changed their hitting coach, and they changed their assistant hitting coach. They fired
Chili Davis, who's one of the best hitting minds in the history of baseball.
And they basically, and the guy came in with a very different approach and got the same results. So at this point, you say, okay, what is it? And he's saying, the hitting coach, the new hitting coach, whose name is escaping me, he's saying, look, the guys are putting in the work. It's not that they're not working. It's not that they're trying to stay healthy, but they're just not hitting. It's just not happening. And at some point you have to say, this is mental. Now, to your point, it has to be. At some point, this is just, these guys are in their heads. Something is not right. And I actually agree with the point about the culture, because I think the culture of a team is part of what helps players in any sport not get in their heads and stay there.
That's true.
And so to me, this feels a lot like, again, there's the injury thing. They've had some lack of luck having they some of it's luck, some of it's timing, some of it's stuff, but some of it's these guys are in their heads now, because they should that's what Steve Cohen was saying. It's people are oh, he shaded them on Twitter, and I'm no, I think he just genuinely is going, I don't understand how a roster this talented is not more productive. And I think that's the culture piece. That's what helps guys and women in those moments when they are choking.
100%. And this is the thing that we've said many times in the show. If you have a team that has that false talent, where on paper they look great, but then they come into the clubhouse and it's like, oh, they don't look so good. The Mets are that team. I get Francisco Lindor is a great player, but you gave him 10 years, $345 million before you saw him take a swing at Citi Field. For some reason, there's a black cat running around that stadium.
Well, he was doing better, and they got hurt. Like, it was like he's starting to kind of like, it's like, oh,
but that's the black cat. Well, you're doing better, and then all of a sudden the black cat comes out, trips you, and you're on the floor holding your ankle.
I'm just saying, these guys are. It sort of like shouldn't. I don't. You said earlier you think the team is sort of like it was like a fake, right?
Yeah.
Like it faked us out. I actually don't think this team is a fake. I think that it's just they're kind of stuck here. And that needs a breakthrough. So Calvin, to your point, whether that's new leadership in the locker room, like something needs to break these dudes out of they're mentally frozen.
Yeah. And Calvin, I'm gonna let you respond to that. But the thing that I want to say is that is the honest thing about baseball. Baseball is the hardest sport in the world. I genuinely believe that. Soccer is hard and rugby is tough and but baseball, you are hitting a ball this big. And it's coming at you at about 100 miles an hour, and you got about 2 to 3 seconds to make a decision to swing, not swing, and swing the right way. And most of the time it hits it, and it goes either everywhere, and most of the time right into somebody's glove. And there's 8 people on the field just ready to do something, and you got to get it past them. It's the hardest sport in the world, in my opinion. I think hockey's second hardest because I can't ice skate, so clearly
it's just hard for Joe.
It's hard for me. You put me on ice skates, and I'm ass skating essentially. But that being said, this Mets team had talent, but I think the problem is that talent, when they see better teams and better coaches, exposes them for what they are, which is you got talent, you haven't realized that talent, and because you haven't realized that talent, you ain't in first place anymore, not even close. Calvin, what do you want to say to all our nonsense?
Now I'm a kind of say something that obviously don't make sense, but there's a point and reason why I'm going to say this. You know who they should have as the coach? Greg Popovich.
He's basketball, my man.
I know, no, and I said it's not going to make sense, but here's the deal. What did everybody say that played with Pop, right? When they was dominating and all that other stuff. What was Tim Duncan's nickname? The big fundamental, right?
Of course.
Everybody was doing whatever. Manu had his Euro step and everything else, but they always said what when they was playing, right? The fundamentals was down.
Yeah.
It might not have been exciting all the time. But sometimes you got to get way back, take them back. I know they professionals and it's not about shaming them, but I think sometimes you got to just run through those fundamentals again and make sure they got all of that and they not skipping any steps in that aspect. It can't hurt.
The thing, and I want to say,
well, Dennis, really
go
quick,
ahead,
just
go
Dennis
ahead.
Is pointing out in the
and
chat.
And I was just about to address that. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Dennis is pointing out, and feel free to read it, and I'm going to answer that in a second.
Dennis said, most teams had this problem in the beginning of the season. The Yankees had the same problem, and now they finally worked it out. And it's one of those things where, was switching the hitting coach the right move midseason when it could have been that they were in the process of working it out, and now you bring in somebody else who's got a different technique and a different philosophy, and then it's like, maybe now you're starting over, So I think Dennis has a point.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I'm going to say, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. So this is the thing I want to really put out there, and that is, here's about veteran, excited coaches, coaches who have knowledge and all of the things that they have and their experience. They know that this season is 162 games. So throughout the season, there's going to be ups and downs. He makes a good point. The Yankees had the same problem. I don't think Aaron Boone is a great coach. I think Aaron Boone has a better coaching staff. And I think that Aaron Boone is better at adapting, and maybe he's a better coach than I give him credit for. But at the end of the day, he figured out the problems. There were other teams that had the same problems. The Braves, the Phillies, all of these. And Joe Girardi is one of the best coaches ever. And he figured it out. Now they're playing better. Teams are playing better. And here's the thing. The coach is the one who writes the ship. The coach is the one who gets the ship.
Calvin's going to say something.
Calvin, please say something, and then we'll move it on.
No. I actually agree. I mean, I know. Go figure. I agree with Joseph.
Whoa, hold up. Did you just agree with me?
I did.
Wow.
Okay, so I think
Twilight Zone.
I think Calvin was coming to New York and he got kidnapped by aliens.
Yes.
Let's just wait and see.
This makes sense.
This is not the real Calvin.
This makes sense.
This is some virtual version.
This is a virtual.
And if he starts disagreeing with me, we'll know. It's not him.
That's a good point.
This is obviously,
This is the thing. We are moving, and we're going to move on to the next topic, which we are super passionate about. And the next topic is the Los Angeles Clippers. And those Clippers did a bunch of things. And those Clippers, they traded away their whole team on so many levels. But I think the most important thing is they traded away a staple. A staple when you come to think about the Clippers, which is Pat Bev. And I understand that a lot of people said over and over that Pat Bev, especially after the Chris Paul incident and the fact that he apologized but kind of didn't. He did it it was kind of like I'm sorry, but I'm sorry you guys saw that. I mean, we could not see it. And it was just I thought it was a half-hearted apology. I actually didn't feel like it needed to be taken that far, but it did. I felt like this Pat Bev trading is basically saying this was not what we wanted to do going forward. We need to get rid of the past and move on forward with the two forwards. But for this discussion, we are going to bring in William because at the end of the day, William is here on Zoom. He's also in virtual land as well. William, how are you doing, my man?
How's everybody doing out there, man?
Oh, good. Look at you. I like that. Wow. Coming
I know.
through with the Zoom. I was going to put your headshot on, but I love that look. I love it. So this is the thing. The Clippers come out, and the Clippers are going and saying all of the things that they did. They traded away Pat Bev. That's a Los Angeles Clippers staple. And they traded away Rondo, who they are supposed to win playoffs. The goal of this team is to win a championship. And a lot of people feel that trading away these two guys, you're basically saying, okay, we're putting all our ducks in two people. And that is Kawhi, which isn't going to be healthy till the second half of the season at the earliest, and Paul George. Eric Bledsoe is a good pickup. But here's the thing I have to say. So, Will, what do you think about this trades and all the moves that they're making?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to amount to a hill of beans. And the reason why is this. You look at it, the Clippers have put too much stock in two guys who have shown throughout their career that either they can't get it done in the clutch or they have the diva mentality. And, of course, Paul George, a lot of us have questioned what he can do in the clutch. He did play better this year for the Clippers in the postseason, but obviously it wasn't enough. Kawhi Leonard, I think even aside from the knee injury, he showed his diva status. And, this dates back to his time in San Antonio. And, for me, we saw Kawhi opt out of his deal. And honestly, the Clippers bet against themselves because nobody, and I repeat, nobody in the NBA was going to give Kawhi Leonard the type of money that he just received from the Clippers with his 4-year, $176 million extension. Mm-hmm. Pat Bev has been a staple of that team. To your credit, I don't see how you get better with Eric Bledsoe as opposed to Rajon Rondo and, not having Patrick Beverley there. Yep. With that said, honestly, all I can say is it looks like the Clippers are betting on the Lakers to win the championship next season. Because other than that, why would you make these moves? Because you're not getting better by making the moves that you did. You're actually getting worse. Yep. And I look at the Clippers, again, there's a reason why this team finally made the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history. And that is the fact that, hey, you look at these moves like here. You look right here to the past playoff run for LA. And with no LeBron there, that is the perfect time. You have to say to yourself, you got to go out there and seize the moment. And of course, the only two teams to me that really seized that moment, it was Phoenix and of course Milwaukee, and really Milwaukee because they are the NBA champions.
Right. They're the champs.
Exactly. But for the Clippers, they did not seize that moment. I know that Kawhi was hurt, and they were very valiant throughout this postseason. But again, not to sound like a broken record, you don't get better if you are the Clippers by trading Patrick Beverley, because granted,
no,
Pat Bev is not a guy that's going to go out there and get you 15 a game consistently, but he was the heart and soul of that team.
He means something to the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I want to point out, you 100%, he's the locker room voice. And last time I checked, defense wins championships. And last time I checked, every team that has a point guard on their team that is explosive has the chance to win a championship. Mm-hmm. Last time I checked, those crosstown rivals, those Lakers just got a very good point guard. I don't understand.
Here's the thing, Will. I don't understand, right? So this whole that trade felt so weird because it's like, okay, so you freed up. I think they freed up some cap space. Yep. They're gonna take. I think I read like $25 million off their penalty for going over. Yep. Like Ballmer is like I really need that $25 million so bad. So like that, like okay, you freed up a little maneuver. If maybe they're gonna do something cool with it, but I don't think so, right?
I mean, they got Bobby Jackson, but he's not. I don't think he's. Honestly, I think the valuable piece for that playoff push is Pat Bev. You need a perimeter defender who is not scared of anyone, and who's not scared of the crosstown rival, who's point guard, who's not scared of anyone. Russell Westbrook is not scared of anyone.
So, and then they're saying that they don't even think Memphis is going to keep these guys.
No.
So it's like
no.
Well, no,
Pat Bev is on Minnesota.
No, Pat Bev's already on Minnesota.
Did it already happen?
He already got traded to Minnesota 24 hours later. Calvin, what do you want to say to Will and just in the response of all these moves that are being made?
Well, I mean, I think he's accurate in what he's saying, right? And I think the only thing that Bledsoe gives them is more offense because Rondo, even playoff Rondo, wasn't a big offensive threat technically, right? He would hit key shots at times. So if you want to argue that, but what is that really going to get you, right? Like Bledsoe is one of those regular season pretty good dudes, but not that good in the postseason. I actually think one of their problems in general was buying into this whole who's the better LA team. You know what I'm saying? Like you really ain't going. First off, like you really ain't going to be seeing the Lakers like that. Probably from a fan standpoint, right? So like I think they kind of went the right direction when they was getting their own stadium built and everything else. But they also traded away the team that was getting them somewhere, right? Like that whole team. Like Pat Bev, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Will, was the last dude really from there, right? They already traded away Lou Will, Montrez, right? They traded away everybody else. So instead of just adding Kawhi and Paul George, they kind of created a new team. So while Pat Bev definitely is that dude who's not scared to tell anybody anything, and as much as I love Kawhi, he don't seem like to be that dude that really want to take that kind of, criticism, especially from somebody who isn't quote unquote on that level, right? So I think they might have did it because it was messing up the current chemistry, but I don't think that means that they were right in doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like something was always off to me, even when they got Kawhi there. Like when he went to the Clippers, I was like, of course, I was like everybody else. Oh, they got them MPG. Yo, they finna do something. Obviously, they didn't. I mean, they did something.
And I'm gonna
they did something. It just wasn't something that they were supposed to do.
I want to let Will get back in here, but I'm going to just say really quick, this is the bottom line. I'm a Kawhi Leonard fan. Kawhi Leonard has proved through his game that he's one of the best players in the world. What is missing is the leadership. And I don't and maybe this is a situation, and I'm taking a guess here. I am not in the locker room, but this is a situation where maybe they feel like the two stars, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, want to be the leaders, need to be the leaders, and they can't have any other leaders, which, by the way, is not the definition of leadership. If you're a true leader, you're able to have other leaders around you and able to develop that. And I think that right now, and this is just guessing, Pat Bev was not good for the chemistry because I'm sure, just like Montrezl Harrell left for the Lakers because he wanted to be in LA, but he didn't want to be in the Clippers, where these two divas, reportedly, we're coming to practice late. We're having all the special attention. We're having all the things that were happening there. And he was tired of it. And he's not the type that's going to be quiet. Pat Bev is maybe that same dude. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not happy at it. I think you guys need to take responsibility. And guess what? He's gone. 2 teams now. He's gone. Most likely not going to be with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I could tell you right now he should stay with the Minnesota Timberwolves. That could be an interesting team. Will, what do you think about all this nonsense?
Well, just to piggyback off what you said, this is what happens when you give players too many concessions. And, we've seen this, and some people are going to hate me for saying this. Some people are going to agree with me, but this is what has happened in this quote unquote LeBron era of NBA basketball, where, players are, coming more out, holding their stances, sticking up for themselves. And, a lot of these owners and front office personnel, they're afraid of losing these guys and they give them concessions. But you have to be very, very careful with that. And, the Clippers gave Kawhi a lot of concessions based off of what he did in San Antonio and Toronto, respectfully. And you're talking about a guy where the team is based in Los Angeles, but you know what? He's spending the majority of his time in San Diego. And the thing is like, if your key guy or key guys are not there in practice giving it all, you can't expect the other guys behind them to do the same. Yep. And, for the story about a guy like Patrick Beverley, he was a guy who had to come into the NBA the hard way, going overseas. He got cut, you name it. So he understands the importance of going out there and giving it 110%, because at the end of the day, skill-wise, he doesn't have the skill or ability that a Kawhi Leonard might have. He doesn't have the skill that a Kevin Durant is going to have. And because of that, he has always played with that chip on his shoulder. Yep. So, when you go out there and you're giving these guys preferential treatment, especially when they have not won for you, right, it's going to cause friction in that locker room. And, the Clippers continue to give these guys concessions. And I'll tell you what, I know that there are Clipper fans out there now couldn't have said that 20 years ago, because to quote the great Don D.C. Curry, you like 20 years ago, you never heard any mother bragging about, their son playing for the Clippers. But nonetheless, it's a situation where, facts. When you hear stuff like that, this is why certain organizations don't win championships. And, there was a reason why the Spurs, who have been one of the better organizations in professional sports for the last quarter century, they got tired of Kawhi, because, guys like Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili were calling Kawhi out and stuff, because they know the work that it takes to win championships, because they won multiple championships. Yep. You had a Toronto Raptors organization that took Kawhi Leonard in. He got him over the hump, and they were willing to give him the world. And the thing is like
they
he
gave
walked
him
away
the whole
from
country. They were going to give him the whole country. Like, you go anywhere in Canada, you get it for free. Like, that's what they offered.
I mean, let's be realistic. In one season, he became the new face of the franchise. Everybody forgot about what Vince Carter did for that franchise about 20 years ago. But the thing is like, you're giving this guy concessions and he hasn't done anything for you. Literally. I mean, let's be realistic. The Clippers can make the playoffs without Kawhi. They don't need Kawhi for that. We're
about to find out.
Right. Mm-hmm. But the thing is this, when you look at Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they're not leaders. They're just not. Paul George is better, and I've talked about this in my own podcast several times. Paul George is a big fish in a small pond. And this is the problem, where these guys, they want the big contracts. They want to be the max player. They want to poke out their chest and say, I'm getting all of this money. But there is a lot of responsibility that comes into that. It's not just about going out there and scoring 25 points per game. You have to be the face of that respective franchise. You have to be there to talk to the media. Kawhi does not talk to the media.
I don't think he talks at all.
This is all about being a leader.
Go ahead.
And until the Clippers find leaders, they're not going to win. Just jumping off of the Clippers real quick, you look at the Bucks. Okay, a lot of things were questioned about the Bucks over the years under Giannis. Giannis took his leadership to the next level this year. He played hurt in the playoffs. We saw him when Kevin Durant had that big game in Game 7 of the conference semifinals. Giannis was right there matching him blow for blow, or point for point rather, in that contest. He stepped up. He let his actions speak louder than his words, but also Giannis is not afraid to get in front of a microphone and talk. This is what is holding this Clippers organization back. They blamed it on Doc Rivers before. You blamed it on the role players. And to Calvin's point, basically you have a new team sans Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So when they don't win next season, because it's going to happen, who are they going to blame?
Though that's the thing, and we're just. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to wrap this topic up just to move on, but I love all the points you're going to make. So one of the things that I agree with, first of all, they're not going anywhere. This team is not going anywhere. They're not. Kawhi comes back. He's full strength. They don't have enough to beat a full-strength Lakers. They don't have enough to beat a full-strength Denver Nuggets because Jamal Murray is going to come back, and he's going to show some people what ball is all about because he was balling out before he got hurt. And then on top of that, this is the thing that is scary to me. The thing that's scary in the West, you got a team in the Utah Jazz that got a chip on their shoulder.
Oh, they're
okay?
Bad.
And Mike Conley said, we got unfinished business. Okay.
They should be mad at themselves.
They should.
Oh, for real.
They should. But
also.
But that being said, the Clippers aren't in that conversation, in my opinion. And let's say by chance they get to the finals, they ain't beating the Brooklyn team. They ain't beating Milwaukee. They ain't beating the Miami Heat. Those are the three teams that one of those teams is going to be in the finals. They ain't beating them. Will, let me tell you something. As always, you are amazing. Please tell everybody where they could find you and check you out because they need to check all the sports knowledge for you.
As always, thanks again. It's a pleasure, and appreciated you having me on. Very privileged to be here. You could always check me out here on YouTube on the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge channel. I'm actually getting ready to jump off of here and to do a live and talk about the upcoming college football season for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. So I think everybody's going to love that. So definitely check that out. As always, check me out on Facebook. We have our sports group at the Sports Depot 365. And also check me out on Twitter at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'd be my pleasure to follow you right back.
I love it. And by the way, first of all, I don't know college football, so please go and check that out. He knows so much about college football. And second of all, we put the link in the chat. Everybody who's watching right now, go and follow him. He is an amazing sports knowledge. And by the way, I'm sure we got Mets fans watching right now. I'm sure you're going to leave some more videos about how the Mets stink because they're going to keep stinking.
Wow. You're just going to throw them under the bus like that?
Listen, there's plenty to talk about.
Yes.
The Metropolitans. I know you talked about them earlier. So, we'll save that for another day. And
of course.
There's plenty to talk about baseball coming down the stretch here because,
of course,
it's a stretch run time for the playoff push. Definitely.
I love it, brother.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you so much, and we are going to get out of here, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. Have a well. Be well.
Thanks.
Be well. So I want to say that was, first of all, brilliant. That man is always brilliant, always. Like I love him so much, and I love every time he'll take it back to 20, 30 years because that's where we grew up. Mm-hmm. We grew up in that age where stuff was there. We are going to get to the next topic. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us at Fan2Fan Show once again on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Now, we get into the next show, the next topic, and, look, once again, it happens. Once again, it happened where we had an interview. An interview was between KD and Kevin Durant and Draymond talking about the Warriors and talking about how the owners of the Warriors were basically there. And one of the reasons why Kevin Durant left was because Kevin Durant said, I didn't like the way the owners superseded and injected themselves trying to fix this problem, and it made it worse. Essentially, that was what was said. Now, we have a separate chat, me and Calvin, and I'm going to tell you, we go into this chat, we talk with our good friend Marcus, and the main thing we talk about is how overly emotional some of these NBA players are, superstars. Kevin Durant also salty about the fact that he got a 96 rating in 2K. That being said, he was right. He should have a 99 rating because that man is off the charts. But that's my opinion. Calvin may not agree with that. But the point is, this was the beef that they said. Essentially, they had some issues with the whole situation. And now, we're bringing this up. But that brings up a really good question with everything that is happening. He left. He was a free agent. He said, I'm gone. He said, this is what I'm going to do. He left. He went to the Brooklyn Nets. He's super happy in the Brooklyn Nets. They're talking about the situation because it's, hindsight being 2020. But players have more power with teams. We saw what James Harden did. We saw what Blake Griffin did to get to the Nets. Both of those guys were not playing great. But one guy looked extremely overweight when he shouldn't be. He's a superstar. He looked like he was out of shape. He looked like he was out of shape. He looked like he wasn't prepared. He wasn't prepared for the season.
Yeah, a little.
And then as Calvin said, what did you say to him?
Who?
About James Harden.
About James Harden.
Oh, that he came in looking like Kendrick Perkins?
Yeah. Yes, he did actually.
Or Barry White?
Oh, Barry. Well, I didn't think he was
big
that
Barry
bad.
White looking mug.
As big as Barry.
I love Barry, but
almost.
Anyway, the point is that he wasn't ready for the season. When he got to the Nets, got into shape, got motivated, and players are trying to control their own destiny. Calvin, we talk about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make you salty that this is happening? What does it make you feel? Because this is a new thing for this generation.
So it's weird, and I'm really like, right, being of a different mindset, coming from a different era and growing up in that, right? Like, because sometimes it's about what you grew up in, and we didn't grow up in the era that was like that. I can't say that makes it better. I can't say it makes it worse, but it was definitely different, right? And so, to a certain extent, I agree. Let players have a bigger say in things, because, like with any job, and we talked about this in our own personal chat, right? In any job, you're gonna get more out of the employees, the workers, however you want to put it, right? When they feel like they have a voice, like their voice is valued. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I couldn't come being any of you guys' employees and literally tell you how to run your company, right? Like you're the boss, kind of, for a reason. Now, basketball's a little different than some companies, right? Because in most companies, the more competent people are the ones that's up in top. It doesn't necessarily work that way with basketball, because it's a business portion. But there is still some point in the fact that the person who owns the team ultimately has the right to say how they want their team run. And so you always have freedom, right, to stay or go.
Yeah. If
it comes down to it. So I'm not going to necessarily just be like, yo, shut up and play ball and all that other stuff. No. But it got it. I mean, I'm still sticking with my point, though. Saying all of that, I'm still sticking to my point that these cats is mad sensitive.
Okay.
Because
I agree. So Calvin is the real Calvin.
I was going to say, because you're agreeing with him, so he's the real Calvin.
No, but I want to say, here's what makes me mad. You know how, like, the Me Too movement happened, and then that girl, I guess, went on a date with Aziz Ansari, and he wanted to have sex with her, and then she got mad and said that was, like a Me Too thing, and it wasn't. And I wanted to say, like, you're ruining it for all of us. Like, we're trying to get a thing done, and we're trying to make positive change. And no, the fact that this man wanted to sleep with you was not harassment. That you were just on a date, and that's a thing that sometimes happens.
Yeah.
So
most times.
Like, so what upsets me about the KD, and actually speaking of Kendrick Perkins, he said this really well. He said, what I didn't like about the conversation, the interview with KD and Draymond, and the way they both sort of turned on Steve Kerr and on management and said it's their fault, really, was that neither one of them took any accountability for the fact that they were actually the ones having the argument, that other people felt that they had to intervene. And I know that only people who have seen this movie will get this reference, but it reminded me of that scene in Ted 2, where Ted is leaning out the window, yelling at another guy in another apartment, and they're screaming and calling each other names, and this woman in a third apartment leans out, and she goes, "Hey, shut up, you're being too loud," and they both turn on her. Yes. And when she finally goes back in her apartment, like, Ted goes, "God, I'm sorry, she's our enemy now." Like, it felt a little bit like that thing where it was like, no, you guys were the jerks, and she was just sort of saying, like, could you quiet down? It felt a little bit like you guys were acting up, and in a way that wasn't professional. Yep. It's not hardly the first time, and it won't be the last, that a coach or management felt they had to kind of step in and go, guys, like, we need to settle this. Now, I don't know if forcing Draymond to apologize was the right choice, but the idea that somehow that's the reason KD had to leave the Warriors is, on the face of it, freaking absurd. And it's like, no, take some responsibility. The fight was about the fact that KD was thinking about leaving. Yeah. So I don't like that thing where it's like, yes, I'm for player empowerment. I'm so for player empowerment. But every time it gets a little bit abused, I just feel bad for everybody who's fought so hard to get here, and then it's like, okay, but you can act like children, and you're going to place blame for things on people that really don't deserve blame. That's not the right solution either, right? And so it's frustrating to me a little bit. Like, it's the right thing, but that they're abusing it a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I'm gonna say, because I am all for player empowerment, because at the end of the day, without the players, there'd be no product. And I've said it a million times. Without the players, there would be no billions and billions and billions of dollars. Without the amazing dunks, amazing performances, 50 games by Kevin Durant, LeBron James blocking that shot in the finals, Steph Curry putting up numbers, Clay putting up numbers, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, putting up the numbers, and Michael Jordan, all the people who've set the path. But now there would be no product. The NBA is one of the best sports in the world, and it is going to one day take over or be number 2 to soccer or to football. Here's the bottom line, though. The bottom line is that it's my team. It's my team. If I see that you guys got a problem, I'm going to settle it. And I'm going to give you a chance to settle it.
Sure.
And if you don't settle it, I'm going to step in and say, yo, it's time for y'all to stop acting like little girls. And I'm going to say this, and I mean this not to insult little girls.
I mean, do I have to bring up the Me Too movement again?
Well,
I'm just
I know.
saying.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Little children.
Thank you. Children. Thank you.
I don't want to bring up little children. You guys are acting like little children. I'm the owner. Now I got to act like mom and dad, and I got to come in here and say, stop your stuff. Here's the bottom line. That whole spiel was all about, he said he was going to leave, and Draymond's feelings was hurt. So rather than say, hey, this is what's going to happen, this is what could happen, this is what he did. And he didn't convey it. They didn't have a talk. They didn't have at the end of the day, the NBA is a business, and any player that wants to leave in his free agency has the right to do so. And if you're going to be all mad about it and salty about it, then you look like a petulant child. And that's what Draymond looked like. And Kevin Durant...
He's a passionate man.
He's a passionate man. And guess what? This is the bottom line. Kevin Durant had something brewing with Kyrie. Clearly they were setting it up. And he... And for Kevin Durant to be upset and say that I was leaving because that happened, it's BS. Because
it's nonsense.
He already had that plan with Kyrie. Kyrie and him, those pictures of them in the Miami hotel happened 3 months before Draymond said anything. Come on now.
So I look at now, I'm talking about now, looking back on all of it, right? Mm-hmm. So think about it like this. You're already a night squad, right? Mm-hmm. You get Kevin Durant on there. Not only is Kevin Durant taking heat, but the Warriors is kind of taking heat now, right? For Kevin Durant being on there, right? Everything's not fair. It's just the way people, they can say all they want to. Draymond and KD can always say they don't care about what the fans think ultimately and all that other stuff, and they don't care what other people think, but they do. So they can miss me with that. We don't care. Yes, you do. Yeah. Everybody kind of cares to a certain extent. So, but from Draymond's, think about it like this. I got to take all this crap about everything, and they always kind of giving me personally crap anyway. And then you come, but now all of a sudden you skating out. So he probably did say, yo, you a B. B?
Yeah.
Right? He probably really felt like that.
I was going to say a C, actually.
From all the things, though, but from all the things that he had to just endure and stick up because that's my teammate, right? You know what I mean? Even if you don't kind of feel it, it's yo, we on the same team. You ain't going to be talking about my mans in them like that. Then also he going to be like, yeah, but I'm out. Oh, you out, are you? Okay. You're going to be out. You're going to be out. So, and KD probably did have something cooking up on his own. So that's kind of the rub that you have with this player empowerment thing. Because I said it before, you ain't really building that team like they used to have. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like Kerr is different, right? He got traded. You don't have no choice with that. But when you got somebody that come in like that and they trying to let you in and everybody's kind of scaled back to make sure KD fit in and let's do this thing. And then he yeah, I still got things to prove, so I'm gonna prove it without y'all, and I'm gonna be out. What?
I couldn't agree more, Calvin. And I get the argument.
Yeah.
I get Draymond in the argument. I do. What annoyed me was both of them sitting up there going yeah, we fought, but Steve Kerr made it weird. Really? Wow. That was right. You had a legitimate beef with this dude, and you were ticked off. And understandably so. And you had to work through it like a man and be a professional, and that's fine. But Steve Kerr made it weird. Really. That's the reason.
This is that's
like growing up, because y'all know I grew up with a big family. You know what I'm saying? And it would be either me and my siblings or me and my cousins, and we fought. right? And like, so legit, my mom or my uncles is breaking it up. Right. And it's like kind of because they broke it up, just like to your point right now, we're like, man, they tripping. Like we were just, it wasn't even that big of a deal anyway. Why they got to trip?
That's what children say, right? So it's like, you're a grown man. Don't blame Steve Kerr.
And by the way, that happened in February. They didn't squash the beef until the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's 2.5 months later.
Because they both sensitive.
I know.
Wow. Hey, Joe. Well, Joe, you already know Draymond. It was probably like, hey, man, you probably went too hard. He's like, man, F that dude. Little punk. Like, you know Draymond wasn't letting that go.
It's ridiculous. This is what I'm going to say, and then we're going to move on to the final topic, the second to last topic, actually. But I want to say that, you know what's going to happen? Keep messing around. Brooklyn going to win that championship. KD going to be Finals MVP. Keep messing around. Y'all keep poking the bear. Anyway.
Look, I kind of low-key want to see, and Heidi, no offense against the Lakers. I kind of low-key want to see, no. Like I said, I'm not saying this against the Lakers.
I know, but I'm saying obsessed with the Lakers.
I'm just saying in a what-if scenario, I kind of want to see Brooklyn versus Golden State in the finals.
Yes. There's more storyline there. There's more.
You know what I'm saying? There. Like now, I want to see like the what if. Like, yo, you was doing all this plotting and scheming, bruh. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, I mean, look. I said it before. I'm picking Warriors, Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Like, I 100% believe that's going to happen.
I will not complain about either versions of those finals. I am 100% fine with either.
Brooklyn's not losing a game.
I'll tell you the only thing that's I'm very exciting. All right, we're not doing our predictions yet, so stop it. But I'm going to say I'm very excited about next year. Well, the only thing that's going to ruin next year for me is a slew of injuries like we had this year, because that was really, it was like you get excited because you see the potential on a team. What?
She says we. She's like, oh, we had a slew of injuries. Who's we?
Now, no, wait.
Me and the NBA, we.
Okay.
Me and the boys.
Let me throw a little something out there, and I know we got another topic to move on to.
Yes.
Now you notice when the focus of the NBA shifted more towards the entertainment of the fans and more offense and less defense. That's when all of these injuries started happening more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the primary, but you start switching it up, and it's too boring when you got the defense. You letting them go, and what's happening? They scoring so much they hurting themselves.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a great point. But we are going to move on to the second to last topic. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us at Fan2Fan Show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So second to last topic of the night is today, my man Kemba was introduced to the Knicks. He was introduced to the New York faithful. And let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you right now. He was looking very nice, and we got a little press conference action of the summary because that is amazing. Kemba is looking like he can own the season. Let's take a listen to that press conference.
You just noted the 10 years playing in the league. Does it feel different to you to be coming home to play here and added pressure even at 10 years in the league?
What was the last part? I'm sorry.
Is there added pressure for you?
Added pressure? Not really. I mean, it does feel different though. Like, this feeling has been like no other. Like, I'm just randomly getting goosebumps. Like, it's an unbelievable feeling to be able to come home. As far as added pressure, I don't think so. As long as I'm in a good environment around great people, I'll be fine.
Kemba, I know you said after the season you were going to spend this offseason to get your health right. Where does the knee stand right now?
I feel great. My knee feels great. Obviously, I haven't been playing as much like in the season, but yeah, I feel really good. I haven't had this much time off in a little while, in a few years, to be honest. So, it feels good to get this rest, as well as, just to, take this time to get my knee right.
Evan, what did you think about the Knicks group last year under Tom Thibodeau? I think everybody could agree they overachieved. What were your thoughts on them, and how did that factor into your decision, free agency?
Well, it was a hard team to play against. They played hard, they played with discipline. You know what they was going to do on the court, and they executed extremely well. And teams like that are hard to beat because they don't beat themselves, and you really have to play well to beat them. So looking at a team like that, it's clear that they had togetherness, that they practiced well, because throughout the season they kept getting better and better. And as a player, that's exciting because you want to be a part of a group that works and that wants to win.
Then I'm in the garden in front of my family and friends. One of the biggest moments of the Big East tournament. Then I hit that shot, and it was explosion in here. So yeah, I love playing in this arena. It's different because for me, obviously, I'm from here, and I've played here so many different times growing up. And it's definitely going to be different now wearing a Knick jersey. It's going to be better.
Will there still be a plan for you to play back-to-backs or not play back-to-backs?
You got to ask them. Ask Tibbs. Ask Tibbs.
And I just want to say, he bowling, because you know what's happening. They looking like G's right there. I love the way that conference ended. So here's the thing. They also introduced Evan Fournier, who was the other big signing that the Knicks got. Calvin, unfortunately, I got to go to the last one for you again. He got 3 in a row first. I got to do that next time.
But come on. Calvin gets the stage.
Calvin gets the stage. How are you feeling about this Kemba Walker signing? And I think the most important thing is he healthy? If that man is healthy, he is an elite point guard, top 5 point guard in my estimation, if he's healthy. But how are you feeling? Because the one thing that was not mentioned, and I watched the entire press conference, the one thing that was not mentioned is how are you going to mesh with Julius Randle? Because this is Julius Randle's team. He extended. I'm assuming they're going to be good because obviously they all extended. But
and they kind of talked about that. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so what do you think about the Kemba and how you think they're going to mesh with Julius?
I actually think he'll work well. You know what I'm saying? Because their game is not the same, right? And when I say that, you look at like the seeming issues with a Ben Simmons and a Joel Embiid, right? Mm-hmm. Is that it's going to be too crowded? Although you talking about a center in your point guard. Julius Randle's game is so versatile. Well, kind of versatile, right? Like them brothers always going to the left. Him and RJ, they got to get something right. Mm-hmm. Other than that part, right? But he could do more, right? He could play with his back to the basket. He could face you up. You know what I'm saying? So that, and Kemba, I don't think he's going to have the load that he had in Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? And he don't have to really prove anything like he had in Boston. Right? He's not coming after a Kyrie and trying to be the next Kyrie and all this other stuff. And sometimes that play into it, right? Like you've been Kemba Walker your whole career. Now all of a sudden they're like, yo, how you going to compare with Kyrie? So
listen, I just want to say, you're right about the fact that they don't play the same game. You're right about the fact that Kemba should be the floor general. You're right about the fact that Kemba should be dishing it out. You're right about the fact that another thing is that Derrick Rose, while he is a point guard technically, he's one of those Allen Iverson type point guards where he's a better coming off the ball shooter. He can shoot and he can be your shooting guard. Kemba can be your shooting guard too. You could switch them up. One could be the point guard one play or 3 plays. The other could be the point guard the other 3 plays. They could really work well together. And Julius Randle's there. RJ Barrett, the thing that the Kemba Walker signing does, as we talked about last week, Kemba Walker signing takes some pressure off of RJ Barrett. Now, I said it multiple times, RJ Barrett needs to develop, take the next level, take 2 levels if they're going to compete for a championship. He doesn't have to take 2 steps. He could take 1 step or a baby step as long as it's progression, and they'll still make the playoffs. A lot of people not giving him credit, which I find annoying because this team was good last year and you're inserting a star. And Evan Fournier is not a slouch. He's a good basketball player.
Hell no.
So I don't understand. Kendrick Perkins, several other people on ESPN and other networks said, they might not even make the playoffs. I'm like, what are y'all basing this on? Do you know basketball? You should. You played. Heidi, what do you want to say?
Well, I want to say, first of all, I have faith in Tibbs. I don't think they would have signed Kemba if he didn't believe that they could make those relationships work on the court in all the ways we're saying. I think he's too smart a man and he has too much influence. So I think it's going to work. I think it is one of those things where you kind of look at it and you say, all right, will it work? Just like we did with the Nets. And it can. That's the thing. Like, if everybody wants it to work, it can. And I think Kemba wants it to work,
yes.
too.
I mean, he's a New York
native.
He
really does. He really does.
Really
and Julius Randle
wants
it to work. These guys he puts the game above everything else. So I really am actually very excited. Evan Fournier did a hell of a job at the Olympics.
Yes, he did.
I mean, he led that French team.
He was giving America the fits.
Him and our boy Rudy Gobert. I mean, damn. So I'm very excited. Very excited.
As Calvin likes to say,
Kendrick Perkins is smoking if he thinks that they may not even make it.
He was saying that they're probably going to be in the play-in tournament. I was like, I don't understand that.
Stephen A. Man.
You know what? This is the thing. This is the thing that makes me mad about that is that he said that and he said it on the air. And what I said is, what are you basing this on? Do we honestly think Milwaukee is going to be just as good as they were last year? I don't think so, because I think that they got a groove, but everybody's going to be gunning for them now. Now they ain't slipping under any radars. Nobody's going to want to give that mantle to Giannis. And by the way, Drew Holiday, there's a lot of question marks, although they could be in the Eastern Conference Finals again. Do we think Philly is going to be a contender? No. I don't think. I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs with the way they're trying. They can't even get Ben Simmons to trade, and that means he's going to be on the team, or they're going to have to release him and get nothing in return. And then on top of that, Miami did well.
I mean, Miami looks good, though.
Miami looks well, but it's that chemistry. Are they going to be able to develop the chemistry? Look, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, if anybody could do it, they could do it. And then the Nets are going to be healthy. And that's the bottom line. The Nets should run roughshod on the Eastern Conference, and they should be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
But here's the funny thing.
Right there.
Here's the funny thing, right? So everybody says the Knicks overachieved.
They didn't.
But they didn't overachieve. I think they kind of did. They advanced the schedule. Yeah.
They exceeded expectations.
Fair. Now, they didn't exceed as much as Miami did, but for some reason, now granted, Miami gets the benefit of the doubt because their culture has always been a winning one and all that other stuff, right? The Knicks, now granted, part of this is probably just because I'm a Knicks fan, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're super
But at the same time, I also feel like the Knicks don't get credit for the culture that they're building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And granted, look, we all said the same thing, right? Like, I want to keep on seeing it, right? So we're not letting them off the hook and being like, yo, they just a perennial team and just all of this. Now, as a fan, if I'm talking about ish, yeah, I'm gonna say that, right? Like, yo, watch out, we coming, we still here. But I mean, when you look back on it, they didn't just. It wasn't like 2013, right, where they had the good season, but like overall, when you look back, really, you like the culture was still kind of trash. Like the culture's a lot different.
I love what Evan Fournier said. They're a tough team to beat because they don't beat themselves.
Yes,
exactly.
And that's what a great way to describe what a great culture on a team looks like. Because when you have a bad culture, you beat yourself.
True.
That's what happened. So I love that. Leave it to the French guy to say it eloquently.
I know. And by the way, Tibbs is not going to let this team slack off. They're going to put in that work. Kemba Walker is happy to be here, and he's happy to be here because this is his home. He's got pride as a Knick. He wanted to come here. Of course, I had to put the picture in with his mother. Like, his mother and I believe his aunt, if I'm not mistaken. They're super happy to be here. And on top of the Empire State Building, both of these guys said they wanted to be a Knick. And they would have been a Knick longer had things worked out with it. And they got Derrick Rose, Julie Randle, and R.J. Barrett. There's no reason or any rhyme or reason for us to think that those three guys that were just on the screen are going to take a step back. None of them, and I mean none of them, have the ability to take the step back. They all are working hard. They all want to be better, and they all have the mentality to put in that work. And I've said it a million times, you put in that work, you will have the just desserts. You will get the results. That is the truth. But we're going to hit up the last topic of the night. Moving on from the Knicks. I'm glad we ended on a nice note, but this is a little bit of a sour note for me. And in a good way, in a fun way, we're going to some hashtag sports fashion. And I just want to understand, Calvin and Heidi. And Heidi, I'm going to let you go first for this last one. What is going on with the style of sneakers? The next 3 sneakers just dropped today, and it is these weird colors with the greens and the camouflages and the
whose shoe is that?
These are just Jordan brand dropping some sneakers. These are random sneakers, street sneakers. They dropping, August 18th. That is today, and they are just dropping them. And then this is the Air Maxes, man. I used to love this sneaker, and oh my God, this is unbelievably gross. I think it's horrible. I'm going to say Nina just got in. She probably likes that last one. I've seen her wear green and orange sneakers before when we've gone out. I've seen it.
Well,
Don't deny it. She's worn it.
I am told that the young people these days, the Gen Xer, the Gen Zers, and the millennials, they love the environment, and you can tell because these shoes are dirty tree hugger shoes. I mean, like, look at these colors. First of all, that first shoe is dirty. It is actually soiled. It looks like what's his name's? It looks like Zion's Bayou Boys booty that is just absolutely looks like he literally stepped out of a swamp. That is a soiled shoe.
It's so trash.
Like, I'm sorry, didn't
it's
we?
So trash.
I used to think that part of what was so great about sneaker culture was how much people who really cared about sneakers kept their sneakers brand new.
That doesn't
and
look
so
brand
clean.
new. It looks like
that
it's dirty.
is hideous. I mean, those are like those 70s colors, like that used to be in bathrooms. Like actually we have a 70s bathroom, babe, the one upstairs that has that green.
Yes,
and
no,
we
actually
just haven't,
oh my God, I
we
didn't
haven't
realize
changed
that.
it. And then I don't know what to talk about that. That is a child shoe. I don't know.
Joey would love those sneakers.
Yeah.
Like, he would love those sneakers.
So would a leprechaun. I don't know. Like, I don't understand. I admit that I am not partial to green, but beyond that, it's the styling is very soiled. I just don't like it.
Nina says avocado
exactly.
green.
Nina, it's avocado bloody green, and that is not anything any of us should want to wear again. And that shoe is dirty. I don't understand that first shoe.
Calvin, what do you think about the shoes?
First off, the way she just casually was like, "Those are dirty hippie shoes," and then just kind of went in there like that was classic. Like, I don't think y'all understand comedic timing like that. Like, that was great. Like, that seemed that I felt like that came straight out of New Girl. Like, that could have been a line in New Girl.
Joe didn't even show me these shoes. I saw them for the first time when you were looking at them, and I just had a reaction. I felt it.
She's like, these are just dirty hippie shoes. All right, cool. I actually like the second ones. I can't even.
So wait a second. You like these,
that's
right?
I like
that, and they're not the dirty shoes. Not the dirty shoes.
No, not dirty hippie shoes.
These.
I like the.
Wow.
Avocado green. That is literally. You must have liked that 70s show because that's the whole palette of that entire program. Like avocado green, orange, yellow.
I wear different colors, so I feel like I could rock that. Like when I look at it, I'm like, yo, I think I can still do something with that. Now the green, like the last ones, I feel like you got to be a Miami Hurricane fan. Like, I feel like that's it.
Yes,
or you have to really like Gatorade.
It's the truth. Right. It's Gatorade. It's literally the green Gatorade with the orange cap. That's what it is.
Or Bobby Boucher. Boucher. You gotta like.
That's a Bobby Boucher.
I feel like that looks like the shoe that he would have came out with in the Water Boy. Those are the Air Water Boys. The Air Water Boy Force. I think that's what those are. Those are the Air Water Boy Force.
Steps backward. I think in the interest of trying to do new things, which like there's some things that are happening that are just.
So I think that so we are in a phase right now with sneakers that there's a lot of retro sneakers that are hot because there's a lot
of ugly shoes that are new.
Yes, there was a point from 2009 to 2013, 14 where all the sneakers were gross and they were horrible. So they started coming back and they started becoming affordable. There were certain websites that stadiumgoods.com and eBay started peddling sneakers. Also, the goat.com. All of these websites started having cheaper, like Jordans. You could give it like $150, which for Jordans are cheap. But here's the thing that is interesting about this. Now we're getting the retro sneakers. Where do we go next? Because we saw what Zion is doing. Clearly, he's got moon boots that they wouldn't wear on the moon. which is just horrible.
No, there's a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
Really
and by the way,
is.
that is going to be Zion's next shoe.
He's just
spaghetti on my shoe. That'll be the look. It'll just be like red flecks of crap. I mean, I don't know. They're trying to do something different, and it's not working.
They're trying to do something different, and I think that the next step in sneaker evolution. So first of all, they got the self-tying sneakers, which I think is dope. They got smart sneakers that are in development now, where it literally tells you it adjusts to the comfort of your foot angle, so that way when you step.
Our friend Paul the other night was sporting a pair of shoes that actually vibrate to the music that's being played in the
next.
room.
We got to get those on the show.
So, and actually, I
Paul,
felt
if you're
it.
watching, we got to get that on the show.
I literally leaned down and felt his shoe because we were in a club and the music was playing, and I felt it. And I could feel his shoe pulsing.
Me feel it.
I think you didn't ask. I'm pretty sure he would have let you feel.
That would have been weird too in that place because I would have just.
See, look, we got to get Joe sensitivity training. You had to remind him about Me Too earlier. Now he's just trying to touch things that he ain't asked for. What is going on with you, brother?
He's Paul. I just want
you know what happens? You know what happens? I'm gonna end the show the same way I started. That's what happens when Calvin doesn't get here on time.
Oh, chaos.
Oh, you know what?
Calvin.
Ooh, I walked right into that. That felt like a wall that I walked right into.
You are the light on the dark side of me. Okay.
I feel like LeBron James in Space Jam too.
You are too, but
we are the two lights.
He was the first.
Yeah, we're the other lights. Like I was kind of light, and then you like really light.
That's right. I'm gonna the extra light.
I'm gonna sing to Calvin when he gets here tomorrow. I'm gonna be like, you. That's not even the right song.
You complete me.
No, what was the song?
You mean the Kiss from a Rose?
Yes,
You're gonna sing Seal?
Yes, because that's the lyric is you are the light on the dark side of me. It was from
Batman.
Batman.
Yes, it is from Batman.
This is what happens after 27 years of friendship, people.
Yes, it's true.
Your best friend sings Seal to you.
I do, because we were there.
And he means it.
And I mean it. And I do. Anyway, I'm gonna let Heidi go first.
He only sings R. Kelly to me.
No, that's not true.
No. My mind's telling me no.
But my body's telling me yes.
That's what I get. So I'm just saying.
Unfortunately, you know what's bad about that song? He was saying it to 13-year-old girls.
Okay, why you gotta ruin it?
Anyway, no, but that's the truth.
Maybe not that one. Maybe not that one.
I don't enjoy your truths, Francis.
Listen,
I don't want to hurt nobody.
Harshen my buzz. All right, so
Heidi, please, you got to get us out of here. What do you want to say to the people?
What do I have to say to the people? I am very sad that Calvin wasn't here, but I'm very excited that I'm going to see Calvin very soon. Not so much all of you watching necessarily. Some of you watching, not all of you.
Some of you.
Not
everybody.
Well, anyway, I'm
he's
very
only
excited
coming to
about
New York
that.
for one evening.
All right, and then
God damn it.
And then I just also wanted to say
I'm petty. I'm being bitter.
I just wanted to say that I know we don't talk about wrestling on this show, but just for those of you who are into wrestling,
Fan2Fan presents another episode of Heat and Receipts that is live. Talk about Bray Wyatt.
We have it is such an exciting time to be. Look, it's an exciting time to be a basketball fan. It is not that exciting of a time to be a baseball fan. It is a very, very exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
Really is. Really
so I just again recommend people check out our show Heat and Receipts.
Heat and Receipts, yes.
Follow some of the stuff that's going on right now. It's really exciting.
It is really good. It's really good. I love it. Calvin, what do you want to say to the people?
As always, appreciate all you guys, and definitely, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, as much as we appreciate you guys watching and interacting, just you know what, be kind to your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? If you got people that you love, let them know, cherish them, because we never know what everything brings. And surprisingly, I'm a Dr. Britt Baker DMD fan.
Oh yeah.
Listen.
DMD.
Listen, she got a Dr. Britt Baker shirt from my son. My son gave her that present.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. Dr. Britt Baker. He didn't know what it meant because he can't watch AEW because AEW is like super over 21 every single
But I got my Dr.
So
Britt Baker, and then I got an Inner Circle T-shirt from his daughter, and from you I got the Jericho one,
Demo God.
Yeah,
Lightning. We're gonna see. You're gonna see some episodes because we're gonna talk about those topics. But check out that episode of Heat and Receipts. We are gonna get out of here. We want to thank Will Martin for joining us. 300 pounds of sports knowledge. Check him out. Join his podcast if you haven't already. Join his YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like him on social media. Also, like us on social media at Fan2Fan Show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button if you haven't. Share with a friend. We need people who like sports to like us, because the more fans we get, the more of a good conversation we're going to have. Hence, Fan2Fan. We're going to start doing it. Fan2Fan. Anyway, but that being said, we will be here next week. Probably a little tired. Another busy 5 days, but we will be here next week, ready to go. And we thank you all for joining us. Join us next week. I'm sure there'll be more NBA news. Maybe the Mets will get it together, because something's got to give in. And I guess we got to talk some NFL foot preseason, because that is happening. Until then, keep watching sports. Like us, share us, and make sure you be safe, because COVID still exists, unfortunately. Peace out. Peace.